Hi, it's John Terry with Vision Advisors, and I am so excited that you are taking a few minutes out of your time to learn something new. Now, if you're looking at the screen and you see this tentacle looking thing coming out, you may wonder, what in the world is this? And what is John up to at Vision now? Well, we're not going to talk about an octopus today, but we're going to talk about something even more amazing than that. We're going to talk about the Kraken. Now, I'm not talking about the Kraken from the movies where we saw all of the amazing patriots of old from Greek mythology coming down and having this war of the Titans. I'm talking about an innovative strategy from a very unique marketing company called Snappy Kraken. Now, if you've never heard of them, that's okay, because you're going to hear a lot about them today. But I want to give you an invitation, if you haven't done so, after we wrap up today, make a trip to Amazon.com and go order the book Blend Out. That's Blend Out, like a blender. And there's actually a picture of a blender on the front of it, like it's blowing up with all this different color. It's an incredible book written by the CEO of Snappy Kraken that talks about how you can take what's ordinary and make it irresistible. Now, if you've been on any of my podcasts and you've been in any of my selling secrets of the top 5%, you know I spend a lot of time talking about creating irresistible offers, making yourself attractional so that you invite other people to understand the uniqueness of who you are, what you do, and how you uniquely do it. You're going to have an opportunity today to hear from a veteran of Snappy Kraken, Mr. Michael Guido, who can help you do that. Take what may be ordinary in your practice, add the Snappy Kraken special sauce, and all of a sudden what you have is irresistible. Because when you are irresistible, what do? You attract the type of clients and customers that you prefer to work with while shunning away those that you don't. It makes your marketing more effective, more attractive, and at the end of the day, it gets you in front of the customers that you prefer to do business with, that want, need, and can pay for and benefit from the financial products and solutions that you bring to the table. So without any further ado, I want to turn it over to Michael at Snappy Kraken. And Michael, thanks for joining us. And I am so looking forward to doing this. I may get so excited, I may jump in the middle of your presentation a time or two, and I hope that's okay.
Oh, absolutely, John. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited, and please interrupt me and add some of your expertise and wisdom to the principles that I will be talking about. And actually, before I jump in, something you mentioned in your intro that kind of struck a chord with me is, and I'll just summarize it as, figuring out your why, right? The advisor, the office. Who do you serve? Why do you serve them? And why should they work with you? That is so important for an advisor to understand, because, the spray and pray method does not work. If you're marketing to everybody, we all know that advisors don't serve everybody. And so understanding the people that you want to serve, the people you want to work with, and how do you serve them differently, uniquely from the advisor down the street is super, super important. And once you've figured that out, the marketing and something like us at Snappy Kraken really becomes pretty easy. But always starting with the why. What is your why? But to talk a little bit about what we do, and as John, you alluded to, the Kraken. I'm going to start with right there. Where did we come up with the name Snappy Kraken? And so there's a long version to this story, from how neuropsychology plays with a brand and the way it rolls off your tongue and the syllables. But, ultimately it was, the Kraken, the tentacles, the hub of the center, the body of an octopus, and the Kraken represents your marketing hub. And think of the tentacles as all the different marketing automations. So think of social media, email content, drip funnels, sequences, all the different things that can happen behind the scenes represent the tentacles. And, as you talked about with Greek mythology, the Kraken is kind of a mythical but almost scary creature. So we had to kind of soften it up a little bit. But we also like to think that we make your marketing snappy. And a little behind the scenes information. They originally came up with the name Charming Octopus. And I'll stand here today and say that I'm super glad that they decided to go with Snappy Kraken instead of Charming Octopus. But I think even if you haven't heard of us, you can probably look at us and say, I'll never forget that name. I'll never forget that red octopus with those black sunglasses. I'll never forget, how Snappy, Kraken. And so that is what we're trying to do for you, right? Is stand out in a needle in a stack of needles. Is how do you differentiate yourself from every other advisor that is marketing their business and their services to every investor in the country? And so just like we did with our own brand is the same that we are trying to do for you. And how do we do that is the next thing that I will talk about. And so what you see on the screen with original content and easy automation and then proven results is kind of our three-legged value proposition. And I'll break into those a little bit more in depth. So original content, right? A lot of marketing in our industry, there's lots of options out there. I mean, you could, walk down the street and find a marketing consultant and an expert. You can, Google, financial services marketing. There's a lot out there. But what you're typically going to find is one of two things. You're going to find services that provide curated content from other, third-party media sources. So you've got a super robust library of CNN articles and, Forbes articles, Yahoo Finance, et cetera. And then they'll put your logo and they'll put your face on it. And what's happening there's nothing wrong with that, but it's kind of just, publishing content for content's sake. It doesn't really tie that individual to you. You're sending them to an article about, let's just say, taxes. They're thinking about taxes. They click it. They're now going to a Forbes article. So right there's a disconnect. They don't really associate that with you. You're not that thought leader anymore. It's that author at Forbes. So again, it's not hurting you, but you're really not setting yourself apart from anybody else. And you're really not associating everybody with your brand as you being that thought leader. On the other side, you have fully bespoke custom creation. Now that is, if anybody's never done that before, it is incredibly expensive. And I'll talk a little bit about how much these things cost. But to have a marketing agency create a full bespoke marketing concept and sequence and campaign, it can cost anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20 and even north of $20,000. And that is for one campaign. And I didn't even mention yet that our industry, as we all know, is super regulated. So if that firm or that marketing agency isn't familiar with financial services, then they typically are leaning on you for a lot of the regulatory commentary, and or they create something that you send through compliance, that compliance completely redlines. So we kind of sit somewhere in the middle between those two goalposts. We do have an in-house marketing agency. We do have technology. So we do have a library of content, but again, it is original. It is completely unique. It's award-winning. It's thoughtful. But we aren't taking things from other media sources. So our library isn't going to be as robust as some of our other competitors. We've got about 150, 160 campaigns in our library. This is the only vertical we serve. So we send our campaigns to FINRA. We get them reviewed. We write with that regulatory mindset. But we take that content and we allow our members to customize it. So think of it as like a template. You can use it as is. Again, we've done all the testing, the research, everything. It takes us over 100 hours to build most of our campaigns. So we've done all the thought and uniqueness for you, but you can put your own personal spin on it. Just like John said, you got to know who you are. You've got to understand your why. So you can spin off of the 100% that we've created, maybe add in a little bit of your own special sauce, your own seasoning, to make it so that it really, what's the word I'm looking for? So it really resonates with the audience that you are looking to serve. And so all of that is bundled into a library. It's turnkey if you want it to be, or it can be completely automated from a sense that if you like it the way it is, you can have a full-fledged marketing campaign deployed in a matter of minutes. And I'll show you that later. Now, as I say, deploy and automation, that's where the technology comes into play, or I'll call it the features, right? So we do have a software. We do have the ability to automate email sends, whether it's one or many. So think of 8 emails once a week for 8 weeks. We do have social media automation. We've just recently launched a text messaging application. And I'll even add this at the beginning, won't talk too much about it, but last week we announced that we acquired Advisor Websites. So we just got into the branding and website arena. But to keep it with just the marketing side of this, and for Snappy, Kraken, as I'm familiar with, as I'm still learning the website side of things. It's being able to assist you with, at the clicks of buttons, to be able to have month-long, weeks-long marketing campaigns that have a hierarchy of events. So if somebody does this, they go there. If they opt in, they get this. All of that is running for you in the background. So now you have content, you have automation, and the last part, arguably the most important, is what do you do with those things? And I find that most advisors struggle with the adoption and the kind of the use of their marketing. And that's where our expert marketing team comes into play. So now you have, a beautiful car, and you've got the instruction manual and the keys, but you've got somebody who can sit with you in the passenger seat and give you best practices on how to use it. And what I mean by that is, where do you start? What campaigns are working the best? What days of the week should I be sending them? What time of day? If somebody interacts with this, what should I do with them? How should I segment my contact list? Those are all things that we use a scientific approach, because we're analyzing all of the data. I'm talking millions of data points for all advisors across the country. And we take that, we boil it down, and we use that to help and coach you on a proven process. Now, I'm going to jump to a next slide. But John, anything that you'd like to add on any of those, the initial points I just made?
No, Michael, I think you covered it really well. And if you think about what a producer gets when they work with Snappy Kraken, they're going to get, again, as you said, content that's going to brand them and not a third party. Because the goal of branding and marketing is to get yourself noticed. The ability to be able to click a button and have it go to where you want it to go so that it reaches the type of people you want is powerful. But the thing I like is that very last point, proven results. If you're spending money for marketing, you want an ROI that means you're getting in front of qualified prospects and doing so on a favorable basis. This is going to allow you to do more of that without yourself having to become an expert in doing all the things behind the scenes that are going on.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And a great segue to this slide, which is, I'm sure anybody who watches this recording fits into one of these buckets. And if you don't, you might be lying to yourself. I hate to say it, but having worked with tens of thousands of advisors over the course of my fintech career, advisors typically fall into one of these camps. In 2020, COVID really shook up the industry, which was very traditional in filling rooms with people, doing educational events and seminars, and the Ed Jones model of knocking on doors and whatever that may be. And everybody was kind of forced overnight to revisit their marketing strategy and figure out how to get in front of people when people couldn't leave their houses. So digitally, to quote unquote. And so what happened is we saw that people were using, as I said in my previous slide, with the left side of the goalpost, with using services where you're using that canned content that's kind of almost promoting a third party media source, which you may get clicks and you may get email opens, but again, it's not tying it to your subject matter expertise or your thought leadership, and so you're getting ignored. So you may be getting all the the metrics that company is like, well, you're getting all the opens and you're getting the clicks, but those people aren't thinking of you when the time is right or when they're having a particular problem. And then we saw people that said, we are just throwing spaghetti at the wall, right? And those two, the 2 and 3 kind of fit together, wasting time on failed experiments and burning loads of cash. It's just, again, throwing the spaghetti at the wall, seeing what works. And typically when I ask an advisor, hey, well, what's the return on your investment that you got from that? I hate to say this, but 9 out of 10 times, they just kind of go, I don't really know. Like, I don't even know if I got new business. My client, I don't really get many responses from even my own clients. And so they're having a hard time quantifying even what they spent. And for the most of the part, they're spending tens of thousands of dollars on this. And then lastly, there were people that just said, I wasn't doing any online marketing. And fast forward to 2020, and then where we've come since then, they just don't know how. They didn't do it before. They're not comfortable with it. There's some people who hate it, but they realized that they needed to do it if they wanted to stay relevant. And so, that's where I'll go to the right on the bottom is that's where we fit in. Even if you don't know anything about online marketing, that's fine. Let the experts help you. Don't reinvent the wheel. We have a ready-made digital marketing plan within one platform. We already talked about the content and the technology, but as I work now top to bottom, you've got award-winning, and when I say that, I mean it. We've won the last 3 years at the MarTech Awards for digital marketing content. A proven strategy in 1 hour per month. I'm going to expand on that, and I want to emphasize that truly in an hour a month, you can have a full marketing campaign and strategy deployed expertly month over month. So I'll also say this. So if you don't have an hour a month to spend on your marketing, then Snappy might not be a good fit for you, because we get you 99% of the way there, but we still ask you to pull a couple levers, which click a couple buttons. Going back to your why, what kind of people do you serve? Is it, estate planning? Is it insurance? Is it long-term care? Pick a subject, but what is your bread and butter? Pull those, subject matters, pull those campaigns off of a shelf and say, I want to use this campaign. And then again, you can put your personal spin on it. And then you gotta physically launch it. We don't launch it for you. We take care of everything after you click a button. But basically think of that as, okay, I want to, market to all of my prospects with a, tax planning strategy. And I want it to be on Thursdays at 11 o'clock in the morning. That's where we need that input from you. We also need some compliance approval if you have any oversight. We'll talk about that later. But we need you to kind of just say, here's the start of this. The automation takes care of the rest. We'll send those emails. We'll post to your social. We'll drive traffic to these landing pages and get people to opt in and then drip on them. But we need you to initiate that first action. And then data-backed proof of performance. We talked about that with our support model and everything. But what I want to say here is, since the beginning, we've built our platform more like a marketing company outside of financial services. And what I mean by that is, you might think that, with Google Analytics and Facebook Analytics and artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms and all this, that most marketing companies should have all of this data. Well, what's funny is most fintech financial services marketing companies don't. So we're analyzing everything. We're incredibly transparent. You have your own dashboard. We're analyzing things so we can get better at what we do. But again, going back to what me and John were saying is, don't reinvent the wheel. Marketing isn't about egos. Truly, it's about what works. So when you think of something and you look at it, you might think, I don't know if I really like that, or maybe that, I don't know if I agree with, you look at this screen, like the yellow button of after. Maybe you say to yourself, I'd like blue. But I want you to understand that everything we do is driven by math, by data. So when we do color schemes and fonts and structures, it's all about what's going to get the best conversion. And again, it's not about ego. We test these for hours using crowdsourcing materials, subject line analyzers, and things like that to figure out what is going to get the best results. Now, I'm going to flip to another screen, John, but anything you want to add here? I'm sure you've worked with so many advisors, and maybe you want to add something about the different types and personas and what camps that the advisors you've seen kind of fall into.
The big thing I see with most producers is they're brilliant in their area of genius, and that's helping clients solve their money problems, but they're struggling. I like to refer to it, because I'm a martial arts guy. They're black belts at selling their particular products and services, but they're white belt when it comes to what we're talking about today. So why not hire a team that masters on what it is you do and do well, so that you can spend 1 hour a month. If you don't have an hour a month, I promise you, spending a little time with me in a coaching session, we'll find you an hour a month that you can use to get in front of more customers than you're currently getting in front of right now. And getting in front of the right type of customers, that's what this framework lets you do.
Absolutely. And so I don't know if people can see this, but just like you were saying, they are black belts right around here, right? They are black belts. Once they can get in front of somebody, they're great at having a conversation about an individual or a family's circumstances, and being able to understand and position a particular service or solution that will solve their problems. Now, if we want to use that analogy of the white belt, it's all of this over here on the left. That's where advisors struggle. But this is why it's so important, because most advisors are focused on one of these areas. I hear it all the time, John. It's, Mike, I need leads. I don't care where they come from. I just need leads. Well, that's all good. However, a lead is only as good as your follow-up and sales process. And most advisors are pretty good salespeople. We'll give them that. But the follow-up, what do you do when you get a lead? That's what I have seen to be troublesome for most advisors. And when we think about digitally now, most advisors struggle to figure out and understand what is it like in a digital universe, right? If we think back to, filling a room with people, giving them a plate of food, sharing a bottle of wine with them, shaking their hands. I mean, that was kind of the way this business was built upon. And it kind of got shook up a little bit, even though people are getting out again and things like that. It's just not the same. And so when we think of this digitally, I promise you it's no different, but it is a different kind of mindset. If you think of filling a room, right, it's just, you're still trying to do that. Think of just as your bucket or your funnel. You're just doing it in a digital way. But when we think of building that credibility, earning their trust, it's different because they didn't get to see you present. They didn't share a bottle of wine with you. They didn't shake your hand. So it's a little bit different. You're doing this in a digital way. You can leverage things like video and other ways to kind of show your charisma and your personality to people. But when you look at this framework, you have to understand that when you do marketing, it has to be a complete and or holistic strategy. You can't just have one of these areas covered, or else you're going to be left blind in all the other areas. And I say this, so when we create content, it's not just for clients. It's not just for prospects. It's with a thought or an outcome in mind about where does this person sit in your ecosystem? And what I mean by that is, we're going to talk to our clients way differently than we're going to talk to somebody we've never met. And then I'll even add in people we have met before that just aren't doing business with us. I want you to think newsletters, client events, referral strategies, right? Those are the things, or even, engaging with the next of kin, the next generation. We're about to see the biggest wealth transfer of human history. How are you staying relevant with the people that are going to get the money of your clients? Studies show that 70% of that is going to go elsewhere. That is a huge number. So what are you doing to stay relevant with not just your clients, but their kids, their grandkids? You need to stay relevant. And if we think about prospects, well, where are they? Have you known somebody and had many conversations with an individual? Is it somebody who doesn't know you at all? Right? So we're creating content to move people through these different stages and strategically working with you to understand. And a lot of this comes with list and contact segmenting, but being very concise with your message. This group of people have barely engaged with us. So we're still trying to just get them engaged, earning their trust and building credibility with them, right? And so what I want your takeaway to be here is when you choose a marketing partner, regardless if it's Snappy or anybody, you need to understand that marketing is a funnel. And it is husband and wife with sales. They're the same. They're very, very, brother, sister, cousins, whatever you want to call it. We've got to think of it the same way. And we're in an industry that's really, really difficult when it comes to trust. You're not going to just walk up to somebody on the street and ask them for their, bank statements and their beneficiaries and all that kind of stuff. It's going to take time to build up that credibility and earn their trust. So we do that in a digital fashion. Obviously, the ultimate goal is to get in front of people. But when we think digitally, people have to see your messaging over and over. And going back to the fact that it needs to be you. It can't be Forbes, CNN. It's got to be you. You're the one sending the message. It's your logo. It's your contact information. It's your email signature. It's your social media profiles. So when they start seeing you and hearing your message and reading it, this industry is about the when not so much, it's not the if, it's the when. It's like when people have that life event that causes them to have a desire or a fear that they need information, you're that person that they now go to for their issues, for their problems. They're seeking out answers, and you're the thought leader that is in their head because they've seen your message and you've built up that credibility with them. So John, again, pass it back to you. I know you know a lot about, of course, a marketing strategy. This is just our way of talking about the modern buyer's journey. So the way we've coined it, but I'd love to pass it to you for some context here.
Yeah, Michael, the only thing I would add there is something I know from having trained financial professionals in this business for over 30 years now, is that these financial advisors, well, again, as they're really good in that yellow area that you showed in winning the clients and making the sale, the fortune's in the follow-up. And all of the studies I've seen in our own data that we've collected over the years bears that out. The average financial advisor follows up with their client at best 2 times. But we know from all the data that's out there that unless they're touched a minimum of 5 to 8 times, 80% of the people that are ever going to have an opportunity to say yes to your proposition, they're not going to do that until after somewhere between the 5th and the 8th touch. But if you don't have a system like this in place, so you stay top of mind aware and continually reminding people of who you are, what you do, and how you uniquely do it, you remain the invisible man or the invisible woman.
So true. So true. Remember, it used to be the law of 7.
Yep.
The
exactly.
7 touches, right? It was the law of 7. It's kind of changed a little bit, but years and years ago, it was that law of 7. And you bring up a great point with, the staying relevant and the multiple touch points, and where a lot of advisors struggle is being able to just complete those steps. It can seem daunting. It can seem, calling people and, crafting an email and sending it, and just staying on top of it. Almost think of it like your daily calendar, or you or office staff or whoever is doing this. It's hard to stay on top of it. Who did I email today? Well, I got to do it again, in a couple of weeks, or, so people just fall back on we'll send our annual review reminders, and, we'll send a couple things once a month. We'll invite them to our, our wine and cheese event that we're holding. But it's like, I'm here to tell you that technology is, in other industries, it's crazy how much business leverages technology. Our industry is finally starting, it's never going to catch up, but it's finally starting to be even a shell of what other industries do. But technology is here to help you. We, Snappy, other service, we can help you automate these things. Earlier, I talked about, we have the content, we have the automation. So with clicks of a button, you can make sure that you're staying in front of everyone in your contact database, and you're staying up to date and relevant. Huge point there, because you can't be tone deaf. And it's impossible for you to, in your business, to stay up with the economies, the markets, what's going on in the world around us. What are your clients fearful and thinking about? It's impossible for you to possibly keep up with all of that. That's where we step in. We're doing all that work. We're staying up to date with laws and regulations and wars, right? And we're providing you the message that you can send to your clients and prospects that helps you stay top of mind, but more importantly, stops you from being tone deaf. You're not sending somebody something that completely is just they could care less about because of what's going on in the world around us. And what we're looking at here, folks, and I'm excited to show you this, is just one example of a campaign diagram. So what I want you to take away from this, there's a lot on here. Obviously, we see social, we see emails and web widgets and advertising and all sorts of things. But what I want you to take away from this is that when you see this, everything is complete. So this whole campaign, let's just pick a topic. Let's just say it's Social Security or estate planning. Honestly, throw a dart at a financial services related topic. But it's going to be about some sort of financial services subject matter. Now, the emails are written. It's designed to look as if it's coming from you. So it'll be coming from your email signature, have all of your relevant disclosures. It doesn't say Snappy Kraken on it. I can't emphasize that enough. It doesn't say Snappy. Nothing on here says Snappy. It's branded and white labeled to you as the office or the advisor, whatever point of view that is. So emails are done. Social posts are built. Captions, headlines, subject lines. we have web widgets. So if you wanted to put a banner on your website, that helps you capture people. So if you have a lot of traffic to your website, but are having trouble to get people to, think of any other website where banners pop up and, you can opt in to receive a coupon for 15% off. We don't do that in our industry, but just using examples. Think of it that way. You got a lot of traffic, but you're not getting a lot of people that are signing up for your newsletter or opting in to receive your book or your guide. We have Facebook advertising, another service that we offer. Advertising online is incredibly difficult, and it's something that changes daily. Mark Zuckerberg and his team, they keep changing the rules and the way things work. So having a team that, if you are interested or you're in the digital advertising space, that is up to date and on it, that's really, really important. And then we see landing pages and drip funnels. I can't say it enough. This is built. All we ask of you as the advisor or the office is to kind of, if we're saying Social Security as an example, we ask you to say, this is relevant to my audience. I pull it off a shelf, and I'll show you what that looks like in a sec. Review these different pieces. Remember, although this is complete, this is going to go out as if you wrote it, you picked that image, you wrote that message. So make sure that it does fit your why, going all the way back to the beginning. It fits your mission statement. And you can customize the different pieces that you see. So something that is evergreen or as general as Social Security, everybody on this planet or in the United States is thinking about that in some way, shape, or form when they start to get to be that age. Well, with just some slight tweaks, you now can tweak that towards AT&T employees or female divorcees, or pick a niche, right? But you can just slightly alter that message to really resonate with the target audience that you are looking to serve. So we ask of you those things. And the last thing we would ask of you is, from a compliance perspective and your own perspective, is approval. So again, this is leaving as if you wrote this email and sent it out and you posted it on your own social. So as I like to say, it's, I approve this message. I agree with what's being sent. If people respond to it, I know what's going out. I'm comfortable with the message. And if compliance needs to see this, super easy. Again, we've sent this to FINRA. We bundled this up in a compliance PDF that can be sent to compliance for approval. And I'll show you that a little bit later. And then lastly, we see a lot of different sequences here. We have day 1, 7, 14, 21. Well, it needs a start date, folks. So again, maybe I want to send this out to go on Thursdays. Tuesdays and Thursdays are great days of the weeks, by the way. And I want it to go out just before lunchtime. There's various times of the day. I recommend, kind of switching your campaigns, ever so often, because your market might dictate different results. But let's just say I'm going to anchor this to Thursdays at 11 o'clock in the morning, so 11 a.m. And then I'm done. Well, I need to tell it who to email, of course. So I'm going to send this to, all of my prospects that are 60 plus or 62 plus, however you want to do that, and you're done. These emails are going to be sent to that group of people. Those social posts were posted. And then 7 days after that, these emails and these social posts will go out. And it's not the same email, folks. We're using direct copywriting techniques and open loop psychology, but all of the copy is going to change. It's not just the same email week over week. It's going to change. And it's all designed to get people to interact with it, open it, click your social post, and driving traffic. In this case, this is more of a opt-in, so a gated content concept where you're offering up a Social Security PDF or a flow chart or a guide. They want to read it because they're thinking about Social Security, when to file, how to file, all those different things that people think about. And so we're capturing their information. They can't read this beautiful educational guide unless they opt in to receive it with their information. And so that's the process here. That's not the way, again, all of our campaigns will work. But in this case, it's all about an outcome. We're looking to get somebody to, we're tapping into their fears, wants, and desires. We're offering them information that, again, this is branded to you. This is tying them back to you, your thought leadership. And we're using, as we call it, as we say around here, we're being precisely vague. So we're offering up just enough information to people, but also leaving them with lots of questions. So if they have questions, who are they going to go back to? It's got your stuff on it. They can fill out forms to request times to have you call them back or book appointments. But again, we're tying it to you. We're being precisely vague, giving them information that they need, leading them to almost, the goal line, but then presenting them with other questions to kind of make them think that, all right, well, I do have these questions. All right, I knew that, but I didn't know this. And again, we're anchoring them to you as that thought leader. So if they have those questions, that you can give them those answers. And so what I'm going to do next, John, is I was going to jump into the actual software and run through the technology a little bit. But is there anything you wanted to add here before I do?
No, I mean, as you're making that transition, I'm just going to echo what you said there. The ability to garner the attention of someone and pique their curiosity. Anytime somebody is curious, they want to know more. It creates an open loop in the psychology of the mind in terms of buying behavior, that when you create that open loop by asking a question or giving them some insight, but leaving it just short of the full answer, something inside their brain says, I've got to close the loop. I've got to get the answer to this question or find out, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. And that's that opportunity for them to go deeper and engage with you as a financial advisor.
Well said. And I know you and I could probably do a whole other segment on, neuropsychology, but we won't bore these folks with that just on this recording today. So where we're at now, folks, is the technology side of what Snappy Kraken does, and what, to be honest, what a lot of our competitors do as well. So what we see here is a content library. And so on the right-hand side, I want to just talk about, how do I filter content? And, what I take for granted that I work here, and I've worked here for a while. And so a lot of these motions are kind of like, on the back of my hand. This is like a walk in the park for me. But what I also, understood after working with so many advisors is this can feel overwhelming, right? I mean, you're taking this plunge and stepping out of your comfort zone to work with a firm like us. You've bought into the fact that we create all this great content and all this automation, and you're excited. But where do you start? Now, obviously, our marketing experts and our support structure are really going to help you work through this. But at the same time, a lot of this is, in that hour and a half, or how many hours you spend in here, it's going to be you going through these motions. And so, we're going to sort campaigns in descending order, but I want to let you know that, first and foremost, we are here to help you, where to start, how to create a good strategy, but we're also trying to give you ways to filter different types of material. So if we think back to that cold to gold framework, think of this almost as an easier to probably remember terms is, prospects, clients, and, what am I looking to get from my prospects and my clients? Am I looking to invite my clients to an event? Am I looking to just send them information, keep them, newsletters? And for my prospects, is it a prospects that is super early in my marketing or sales funnels? It's somebody that has attended a few of my events and I've spoken with, but they just haven't pulled the trigger yet. So, are you looking to get noticed, or is it building credibility? Or are you looking to deepen relationships? So you can filter by different content there. And then we have specific product types. I'll take a second to talk about the different campaign types that we offer. So you see DIY, you see event campaigns, lead generation, newsletters, market updates, video campaigns, right? So on a monthly basis, we produce 6 to 7 fresh new campaigns. I'll say that again. So 6 to 7 new campaigns a month. So in addition to what's here already, which is 150, 160, we're updating evergreen content. Think of, topics like Social Security and taxes. So things that are, policies and presidential, things like that, and rules and regulations change. So we're updating and making it fresh and relevant. We've got videos that we're producing on a monthly basis. Now, I'll quickly just say that we aren't producing videos. We are writing a script, and we're giving you best practices on lighting and microphones and how to film it, and then allowing you to distribute it. And so what I want you to think of there is, if I created a video of myself talking about taxes and put it in the library for you, going back to what me and John said in the very beginning, I'm not marrying any type of loyalty to you. They're thinking of me. So what we tried to solve for was what to say, how to say it, and then what to do with it once I filmed myself. And again, in a digital universe, video is incredibly powerful. So even if you haven't done video before, those are the things that you need to be thinking about. We're eliminating what to say. How long should it be, right? Our scripts are going to be about a minute to a minute and a half, sometimes maybe a little bit longer, stretching to 2 minutes, right? And why is that? It's consumable, right? But again, it's not just a link on YouTube. There's a lot of other video hosting sites, but YouTube is the biggest. But so it's not just this video on YouTube. You can now use that link, and it's not just one of those scary links that none of us want to click. It gives you the ability to have it pop up in a box, maybe even if it's a GIF with a 3-second loop back. But you can distribute it to social. You can have it emailed. And instead of leaving comments and underneath the video on YouTube, for example, we're always going to put some form of an interactive form on that landing page so people can ask questions, give you feedback, or maybe they can book an appointment from there. So again, we're packaging that all up in a way that you can create your own unique identity. But again, it's marrying it to you. So when people see that, it's you speaking to them. It's your face. It's your message. It's your brand. So just a few examples of the things that we offer here at Snappy Kraken today. And then lastly, let's think about different audience types. So we have specific campaigns for business owners or medical employees, for women, retirees, pre-retirees. So if you wanted to filter that way, we've got you covered there as well. But just to give us an example of, I'm going to just kind of slowly scroll. We're seeing a few different things here. And this is something that actually just became available last week. And I know, John, you're probably very familiar with Carl Richards. But for our members or our listeners out there that aren't, Carl Richards has done this in the New York Times for many, many years. I think it's 10 plus years. And it's about simple sketches that really talk about financial, investor-related topics. And he's only done this with the New York Times to date. That's all he's ever done it for. And he's actually licensed his content. It's going to be a part of a 52-week series within our platform. If people are interested in that, please reach out to John, reach out to me. It is a really cool thing. I know he is a huge influencer in this space, but just another way we're trying to innovate and offer our members cutting edge and unique content and unique campaigns. But what I'm going to do is just give us a quick run through. And I'm going to talk, and we can see here, we've got newsletters and timely emails, but I'm going to look at one that's a little bit more robust. I'm going to come here to Roth conversions, folks. And right here, think of this as kind of a biography page. So what's included in this campaign? And this is going to be very similar if we remember back to that campaign diagram that I showed you. Again, all of them aren't this way, but this one is similar. So I've got emails and social posts and landing pages. It gives me some previews of the different elements. It gives me a preview of a social message. Okay, great. And then we've got a video from our design team, a little bit of a written bio. And down here, I can preview this campaign, as well as I can check to see if I've got a FINRA review letter. But for a use case, right, our members would click personalize. Think of this as a bad example, but you're at the grocery store, you pulled the box off the shelf, you've read the ingredients and you're satisfied, and you're now going to add it to your shopping cart. Now, you're not going to pay for this individual campaign. We're a subscription-based service. I'll talk about our pricing at the end, but you put it in your cart. And what's happening here is, I promise you, I have incredibly fast internet, but when we think of all of these moving parts, it's adding all of your information to it. So all of that's automatically happening. Your logo, disclosure, email signature, anything that you would need in your marketing material, it's adding it to these elements. And then when I click begin personalizing, all of those different pieces get laid out in a step-by-step timeline. So going back to that hour a month, this is it. I'm in the platform, I'm selecting content and campaigns. And then remember, I said, we've got to review it, we've got to approve it, and we've got to schedule it. And so this is how that looks. So I'm going to do this in an edit save kind of a way, just to kind of give you a visual. So this is our landing page. So I want you to, for those of us that don't know what landing pages are, So think of this as somebody has opened your email or they've seen your social post or your ad and they've clicked on it. They want to learn more. And so right here, explode your tax savings, discover 3 commonly overlooked opportunities, and then before they're gone, right? We've got a quote here. Again, this is going to be all of your information. So your logo, all of your contact information. There's exit intent pop-up windows built into this. So just like, think of any website you visit today, when you go to hit, go to leave it, a thing pops up and offers you a coupon again or something like that. Well, it's wait, high earner, paying too much tax, just a last ditch effort to get them. And then if they do want to read your guide, well, they've got to opt in to receive it. And so having seen this, I'm going to go back. Now I could just keep going. I could love this and just work my way down this timeline. But let's say myself and or compliance wants me to change anything. Well, you can see that everything gets broken out categorically. I could change my title. I could change my headline. Anything in here I can just change. All this contact information, again, is automatically added, as well as your disclosures. But if you needed to change anything, you could. So in here is where I can put my own personal spin on things. I want to remind everybody that this is designed to be turnkey. But again, going back to your why and the people that you serve, this is where you can add in maybe a niche audience or, localize or kind of humanize your marketing a little bit, and you could add specific things. And so I would do the same thing with everything here. I would go edit and I would save it and I'd preview it. And again, if I needed to add anything, I can do so. If I need to edit anything, I can do so. And I'll show you a quick preview here. So this is what we get when somebody does hit your landing page and they do opt in to receive your information, right? They're going to get an email in their inbox with the PDF with a link to it. They can click here to read it now. But, well, we've earned the right to ask a little bit more now. What if this person is ready to talk to you now? Well, how would they do so? Well, within the same page, not having to click around or go to a different page or different link or anything, right here, they can just fill out a form, submit this to you. This all rolls through your Snappy Kraken platform, and again, branded to you. So just little thing. These are the little things, folks. It's just people's minds in being able to capture information quickly without having to do multiple clicks. Giving them a way to take action is important. Now, they may not always do it, but if they need to and they're ready to, making it as easy as possible. And again, I'll say this one last time. If you needed to change anything in there, you absolutely can go back and edit that. Now, I know we're coming up a little bit on time, so I'm going to move a little bit quick here. So John and I have a chance to maybe collaborate on some last things before we sign off. But I did want to take an opportunity to show you a lead magnet. So a lead magnet is a marketing term for this is the actual download itself. I must have forgot to hit save. So what the individual would be opting in to receive. So they've submitted their information. They want to consume this guide that you have offered them. So this is where you're fulfilling your end of the bargain. Now, there's a few things that I want you to look at here. Going back to what I said previously, having an ability to, within the same screen, seek your advice, right? That thing's going to stay there at the very top. It's going to actually be present throughout this document. But this is where we're showing, the things that we offer. These are those opportunities that these people have. So this is just very well thought out, great content. But again, giving people ways, there's a form on that page as well. And remember, folks, that this is branded to you. This is really tying people to you as that thought leader. Any source information and fact checking is there with your disclosures. But again, having this having the opportunity to be able to interact with this and seek out your help without having to go back to the email or go to your website. This is critically important. And so again, for the sake of time, I apologize, folks. We just work our way down, right? And I want to take an opportunity to show you at least what an email looks like. because previously I said, all of this is built. You've seen all the other elements on there. But similarly, think of if you opened your Outlook or your Gmail and you click compose, what is it? It's a blank canvas with your email signature at the bottom. Well, imagine in that same scenario, it's your email signature, but you've got a fully constructed email, expertly written. Again, we can modify any of this if we need to, or if compliance needs to make any changes, but it's all done. So we're just reviewing this, again, making sure it sounds like us, fits our values. And what happens is we're just going to continue our way down. And I'm not going to do that again for the sake of time. I've got my social posts. Everything's going to change week over week, just like with an email. Images change, the messaging is going to change. And so once I've completed all of this, and this is a requirement, you can even see up here, I'm 27% completed. We've got to complete each step. Now, if you don't have social, it's not going to require you to do social. So, if you don't have, and you hate Facebook, you just don't connect it, and it doesn't, it's not going to ask you to sync it up. If you don't have Twitter, you don't have to sync it, any of these things. But I needed a little bit of imagination here because I haven't completed these steps. And so I don't have any like call to action buttons here. But once you've completed all of this, there are two buttons. There's a submit for compliance button and there is a launch button. Now, for my folks that are listening to this that have compliance oversight, you click the submit for compliance button and we download and or copy a link to a compliance PDF. Now that compliance PDF is going to include everything that compliance would need. So we've already done all the thought in this. So it's got a FINRA letter, cover letter. It has links to the landing pages and all those things, but it also has screenshots for record keeping purposes. It has difference highlighting features. So if you do change a sentence or a word, that they can easily identify with difference highlighting what's been modified post that FINRA review letter. So we make compliance snappy. We make it a breeze. But so if you do have to submit it, super easy. And once compliance gives you that thumbs up, you click that launch button, and what it's going to do is it's going to open up a place where you can say, okay, it's a calendar, right? I want it to start on the 15th, and I want it to, and then I want it to be at 6 o'clock in the morning, or I want it to be at 3 p.m. Right? And then lastly, it's going to ask you, who do you want to send emails to? Right? We don't sell email lists. That's not the business that we're in. Right? We're going to aggregate your contacts, whether it's through CRM integration or through a spreadsheet. But you can see here, I've created some kind of fictitious groups. And list segmenting is a big thing that we would talk to you about and educate you on. But you're going to have clients and prospects. But what else? Do you have A clients, high net worth clients, retired clients, pre-retired, clients that like golf, whatever, right? And your prospects, prospects from my seminar on 6-1, whatever those are. But you're going to select who you want to send the emails to, and poof, done. Thursday or on the 15th, as I said, at whatever time of day that is, that campaign is going to start. And that's just one. Our most successful advisors are running between 3 and 5 campaigns a month. There is no limit to the number of campaigns you can run. The only limit you can have as many contacts as you want, by the way, but the only limit we have in our standard account is 20,000 email sends a month. 20,000. And I would say that 95+% of our advisors, that is sufficient, but we can always buy more email sends if we need to, but that is the only limitation there. So you're sending out this to your prospects, you've got newsletters going out, you've got a video going out, you've got multiple things on different days of the week that are touching your audience. Again, going back to what John and I said, staying relevant, hitting those touch points. But as we just saw here today, I talked more than I went through this. I could complete all of this and have 4 different campaigns running. And again, just an hour. And then most of this is going to take place all from me in the background. And then next month, kind of wash, rinse, repeat. So I'm going to stop there, John. I know there's a lot I covered, maybe a little bit too belabored it a little bit, but I know we're up at time, but pass it back to you. I know you probably have some questions and we can talk about pricing and other things, but pass it back to you for a second.
Absolutely. Michael, I think that's a good place to leave the conversation for today. What I wanted the individuals to see, the producers that we work with, is to see the ease of working in the system. This is a very convenient way to aggregate all the things you want to do to connect with your existing customers, reach out and acquire new customers, and then continue to stay top of mind aware through ongoing campaigns. What I loved about what Michael was showing is when you pick a campaign and you start it, and somebody begins to come into your sales funnel and they respond to an email, they click on a landing page, they see an image on social media that they click on and they're driven to the next step. That's already all built and designed for you. You don't have to go create anything. There's some steps along the way where you've got to fill in a couple of blanks. Again, an hour a month at best that you're going to spend building these out, but it's a way to truly automate what you're doing and get more visible than you are right now. One of the things I love to remind financial advisors all the time is it costs you 8 times more money to get a new prospect than it does to stay in relationship and get more business and referrals from an existing customer that you have. Using Snappy Kraken is an incredible resource that you have available through you or to you through Vision Advisors that can help you automate this process and be able to be more visible to your customers and to the prospects that you want to work with. And the good news is even better because your production with Vision Advisors qualifies you for money to market. And those money to market dollars can be used to offset the cost of working with Snappy Kraken. Michael, as we get ready to wrap up, you want to talk about your guarantee and what you do there?
Yeah, no, and I think thank you for asking, and I threw this up there, but it's important we talked a lot about awards and, all the content and staying relevant, all those other things. But at the end of the day, we stand behind not just our process and our program, but everything 100%. With a 12-month grow your business guarantee. And what the devil in the details is that if an advisor stays with us for 12 months, follows our program, the caveat there is, if you let it sit on the shelf for 12 months and don't use it, we're going to see that. I mean, we're a tech company. We can see your activity and all those things. We're going to have a conversation there. But if you follow the steps that we've outlined, if you can spend that hour a month, work with your member engagement specialist or your marketing specialist and put a plan in place and act on it, and 12 months later, you look at us and you say, Snappy, I didn't get any value out of this. It was worthless. Well, we'd be happy to write you a check for everything that you spent. And I can happily say that has not happened at all, because if you follow the process, you can commit to that hour a month and you can commit to working with us and following a proven program, then you're not going to be dissatisfied. And so, ask myself, ask a member of my team about this. We can talk about it a little bit more. But I will also say, I don't have any pricing up, but our average member, folks, is spending right around $200 a month, right? And so that can vary based off of relationships and partnerships that we have, and if we raise prices in the future. But let's just say it's between $200 and $300 a month for our core program. You can spend more on things like Facebook advertising and other things, but I think we can all agree that an hour a month and right around $200 a month, that's a steal for what you're getting, in addition to the fact that we stand behind it with a guarantee.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're spending, if you're doing $250,000 worth of qualifying annuity production with us, that's $1,250 in money to market. You just paid for more than 6 months of Snappy Kraken and writing a $250,000 annuity with Vision Advisors. So there's an opportunity to get your marketing paid for. And one of the things I love to say here is, why use your own dollars to market when you can use ours? So the more business you're writing with us, the more you qualify for that money to market that makes resources like Snappy Kraken free or almost free for you. So with that, Michael, I'd love to say thank you for taking some time to share what you guys do today and taking a little time to go deeper into the program. It's been a little longer webinar than we normally do, but I felt like it was worth it to you, our financial advisors, to understand the power and uniqueness behind what this does and how it can help you elevate what you're doing to the very next level. If you've got questions or you want to be connected with the folks at Snappy Kraken, reach out to us here at Vision Advisors. Our number is 1-800-505-8489. That's 1-800-505-8489. Press 0 at the voice prompt. You'll be immediately connected with one of our business consultants, and we would love to get you connected to Michael and his team and get you getting all the tentacles of your marketing expanded out so that you've got an opportunity to reach more people and the type of people that want and need what you have to offer. Michael, thank you for joining us. We look forward to continuing and growing the relationship with Snappy Kraken. We appreciate you being with us today.
Absolutely, John. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And everybody have a wonderful day.
Thank you.